his chin in his hands, and he was like, "So, tell me everything you've been in." So I started, talking about my creature work, and I thought, why would he be interested in this? He's a director. He wouldn't care. And he was like, "Oh, I love monsters. Tell me more." Really? So then he was like, "Well, what makeup artists have you worked with?" So I started listing off all these Oscar-winning makeup artists like Greg Cannon, Rick Baker, and Sam Winston, Tony Gardner, Michael Lazalgi, the list goes on and on. "Oh, I love his work. Yeah, he's got good monsters. He's good, yeah." So before we're done with this conversation, I realized that I have a very large 9-year-old boy in front of me, really. He's like this total fan geek boy, right? And part of me was thinking, like, who let you in here? Security? But he was the director of the film, So how endearing was that to have a director who was such a huge fanboy? It's like, God, I love movies and monsters. So that's what makes Guillermo del Toro such a darn good director, is that he is a fanboy first, and he thinks like you guys do, and so he knows how to make films that appeal to the fan in all of us, because he is one. So 5 years later, in the next 5 years that happened from Mimicon, I did little movies like, anybody see Mystery Men?
Yeah.
Mystery Men, right? Would anyone know what I played in Mystery Men? Yeah. Hi, I'm Pencilhead. And I'm son of Pencilhead. We erase crime. Thank you. That was my It was the backyard barbecue party scene where they were auditioning losers for the superhero team. Yeah. Anyway, so I did that. I did another movie called The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Anybody? Yeah. Near the end of the film, it's discovered that a few FBI agents had been kidnapped and were held hostage this whole time and turned into vegetables. Literally. There was a potato, a radish, and Doug Jones the carrot. Thank you. Yes, tall, skinny, and orange. That would be me. So yeah, I did movies like that, and all kinds of jobs like that in the meantime. And also another little job came up during that time too. That was a surprise shocker. Any Buffy the Vampire Slayer fans in here?
Yes.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to be a guest star on one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it was the Hush episode. I played the leader of the Gentlemen. Yes. Yeah. We were going to tore people's hearts out and silence the entire town. That was very daring too. If you're a Joss Whedon fan, and he's an absolutely brilliant television creator, writer, director person. He wrote and directed that episode, and here we were. There were 6 of us gentlemen, and I was the leader of the gang. And we floated through town, and we had no voices, and we stole the voice out of everybody in town. So it was very daring for television to do over half of an hour episode in complete silence, right? It was, but there was so much dialogue happening visually that it was like you didn't miss anything. In fact, the Buffy fans in here can attest that, like, it seems like what I hear from most of you, your 2 favorite Buffy episodes were that one and the musical. Am I wrong? Yeah. So that's been kind of fun for me over the years. In the Buffy world, that doesn't go dead. It's like it lives on, and you're the most loyal fans ever. So. That was a fun time though. So during this 5 years, in 2002 comes along, I get another phone call. And it was this is a phone, by the way. I don't know why, I can't mention phone calls without doing a thumb and a pinky. I don't know why, I have no idea why. And I got a phone call that I am being requested to come and meet with these people the next day. I'm like, wow. It was a makeup artist friend of mine, Steve Lang. He's a makeup creator. Designer, and he was out to dinner at a restaurant with a couple of other creature effects makeup people and the director, Guillermo del Toro. And I'm like all scratching my head. Well, what had happened earlier that same day at the creature shop? Spectral Motion is the name of the company. They had just designed a maquette. They had just finished a sculpture of a maquette is like a scaled down version of a creature from a movie. And they just did this maquette for a character for this comic book movie coming up called Hellboy, based on a comic book series called Hellboy. Really? And this character that they were designing was a blue fish man sidekick to Hellboy named Abe Sapien. And once they got finished with the sculpture, this long, lithe, elegant-looking fish man thing, one of them said, before that, they invited Guillermo del Toro to come and look at this to give his final approval that this would be the character. And as legend goes, Guillermo del Toro brought his roly-poly, jolly self into the room, and he looked at this and he went, "Oh, I am so fat." Which I think was his way of saying this is beautiful. I think so. And then the artist who sculpted it, and the makeup artist who designed it, and the head of the shop, one of them said, "You know what this really looks like? This looks like Doug Jones." And then someone else goes, "Oh, Doug would be perfect like that." And then the other guy was like, "Oh yeah, well, I've worked with Doug. He'd be great for this." And then Guillermo del Toro said, "Doug Jones. I know Doug Jones." And what I forgot to tell you earlier, 5 years before at Mimic, he asked me for my card before we departed that day. And now it's 5 years later. I know Doug Jones. He pulls my card out of his wallet, and I got a phone call. So that's how Hellboy happened for me. And that was my association with Guillermo del Toro on my second film with him. But it was Hellboy that really cemented our relationship, where I understood him as a director, he understood me as an actor, and we really got this symbiotic relationship going where after Hellboy, then a couple years later, I did a couple of other turkey films in the meantime, one of them being a little movie called Dune. Anybody? No, I don't want to talk bad about me comics in it, but it wasn't my thing. Aren't they all the imp creatures in Dune? Anybody did you see Dune, anybody?
Yes.
Well, and let me tell you, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, love him. He's a dear, sweet man. He is. Wow, but this wasn't the best vehicle. No, I don't know. But it was a video game turned into a movie, so it's a lot of running around hallways and creatures jumping out of you that you had to kill. So I was the imp creature that came into the sewer. Like they were down in the sewers, like hip deep in water with their guns. That whole movie was a lot of gun cocking and cussing, wasn't it? F this, F that. And you can only cock your gun so many times in one scene. I think really, but they overtime. I like romantic comedies. I do. So here, I was the sewer imp that stuck my tongue into some poor guy's neck and infected him with his DNA problem. And then, that's my lot in life. And another scene where I'm a whiter, more albino looking imp running down the hallway, and I get jumping into a room, and I get stuck in a nano wall. Who even knows what a nano wall is? But I got stuck in one. Yeah, it's like it's a wall that appears out of and it appears out of nowhere, and my hand and face were like. And I got stuck in there, and The Rock, bless his heart, he put a gun in my mouth, shot me.